This is the process shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've long given up on this place having any standards. Vicious Lips is a science fiction film from 1986, directed by Albert Pyun, that's almost like a musical, but not quite. It follows an amateur rock band called, well, Vicious Lips, and its newest recruit, Judy Jetson, who's given the name Ace Lucas, after the band's recently departed vocalist, by the band's manager to save money on posters. During a show, Vicious Lips is hired by Maxine, a prestigious club owner, to sing at her place the very next night. With next to no money and a deadline of now, the manager hijacks a ship and gets everyone moving. Unfortunately, his negligence causes the ship to crash on a desert planet. Worse, the crash disables a safety system protecting everyone on board from dangerous cargo, a deranged, murderous alien. Now, this seems like it's setting up for a race to escape the planet and get to Maxine's club before the murderer catches or kills the band members, but that would have apparently cost too much money. Instead, the majority of the second act of the film takes place on the crash-landed ship, and even so, it's centered almost exclusively in one section of the ship, which is already small enough that they probably wouldn't have had much of a choice but to stay in that one area. So, what happens while stuck in this room? A lot of sitting around and infighting, really. The bulk of Vicious Lips is basically the four band members sitting around, talking about nothing important, arguing over little things, and ultimately doing nothing to actually advance the film's alleged story. The murderer does come into play eventually, but even then he has to be the one to actually push his own story along. I think the worst part about all of this is that there is clear potential and setup for a real story to happen, but instead it chooses to stop dead in its tracks where it is and stay there. I don't think I have to suggest that the characters of Vicious Lips are undeveloped. They tend to stick to the same sort of personality throughout the film, and all of them but Judy lack definite character arcs. And even so, Judy's doesn't have much in it at all. Whenever something resembling growth occurs to a character, it's usually out of nowhere or has very little weight behind it, making it feel more like a snap decision than actual development, or something written into the script, because otherwise you'd have a movie that has nothing happening at all. Overall, whatever does happen doesn't matter thanks to the final act of the movie, which manages to escape the ship, but still locks itself into a single location, attempting to shock the viewer by presenting some sort of cerebral layer to the film, which ultimately goes nowhere for more than one reason. There really isn't much to save the film. The supporting cast is just as flat as the main players. The film's cinematography tries to be interesting, but falls flat more often than not. The editing and sound design are par for the course, and any other attempts at having some sort of artistic statement come through are, well, failures. I suppose there is some good artistic design that helps to sell the earlier scenes of the film as an urban hellhole, though for the most part that aesthetic is forgotten as soon as we get on the spaceship. And I will admit that Vicious Lips' soundtrack is actually pretty great, with a number of songs that, while not exactly memorable, are upbeat and active enough that they're able to keep your attention. It's not enough to save the film, though. Only enough to say that it has one good thing going for it. Vicious Lips. Albert Pyun, 1986. 1 star. I don't recommend seeing it, especially if you saw the poster art once and thought the movie would be like that. The poster is lying to you. That's it for the review. If you liked it, leave me a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Subscribe for more reviews like this one. I don't actually know where these posters come from. I just know that they show up. Maybe if I'm nice, they'll let me rip this one up.